What's good, YouTube? It's Eternal Stage back with another video, and as you can see in the title, the video is "What if Deku had to Speed Force?" Now, this is my 100 subscribers special that I was talking about, but since I didn't expect so many people to subscribe so fast, I didn't get a chance to write a script or do like plan it out and stuff. So I just had to. I thought about it for a while, and I thought it would be better to just give y'all fanfics to listen to. And then after a little bit, I'm gonna start making my own videos, cause I need to get better at writing and all that stuff. I'm only 14, so And with that, just sub to the YouTube channel, like the video, like all my other videos, and do all that. Oh, and by the way, I'm fit to post what if Naruto was banished later today. Alright, peace.
Izuku Midoriya watched the chaos in front of him with horror. Flashes of light, red and yellow, filled his vision, and in the middle of the vortex was his father, Hisashi Midoriya, the pro-hero known as Ryujin for his incredible fire-breathing quirk. His father was viciously beaten, and unable to move. Enko. Get Izuku and run. Izuku could barely hear his father's words over the storm that was happening in the middle of the living room. Despite her husband's words, Enko was frozen with her son in her arms. Unlike her husband, she didn't have a powerful quirk. Nor did she ever desire to become a hero. She had never been in a situation like this before, so she was frozen in fear. As it turned out, she didn't need to do anything, because moments later, she was instantly in a hospital. In front of her was a masked man, a hero no doubt. He wore a skin-tight green bodysuit with yellow accents. All around his body was golden electricity, sparking into existence before fading away. You're safe now. His voice was heavily distorted, but clear enough to understand. Instantly, he vanished in a flash of golden lightning. Speechless, Enko said nothing as she was swamped by a platoon of nurses who attempted to clean up both her and Izuku. Quickly pushing his way through the crowd, Izuku Midoriya came upon an action scene from a comic book. The large, shark-like beast of a man swung his mighty arm into a telephone pole, shattering it and sending debris towards the crowd below. Suddenly, Death Arms, the punching hero, swept in and caught the telephone pole before it could do serious damage. Way to go, Death Arms. I wish I had a quirk that gave me super strength. Suddenly, the people in the crowd were pushed back by a tendril of water that appeared, blocking their way. Everyone, please stay back. It's far too dangerous. Whoa. The rescue specialist backdraft is here. Suddenly, a large group of teenage girls shrieked. It's Kamui. We're your biggest fans. Kamui Woods, an up-and-coming superhero, made his appearance, challenging the Shark Man. Unfortunately for him, his thunder was stolen by the debut of MT Lady. Izuku immediately pulled out his notebook and started taking as many notes as he could, the strategies, different quirks and their uses, and the new hero, MT Lady. What ya doin' there, kid? Talking, notes. Wanna be a hero too, eh? Another onlooker noticed Izuku's rapid note-taking. Yes, said Izuku, with a wide smile. More than anything. As third-year students, the teacher started. You all need to start career planning for your futures. I'd pass out these career aptitude tests, but why bother? The teacher made a show of tossing the tests in the air. I know you're all going to be heroes. The entire class cheered and leapt to their feet. All of them speaking at once, filling the classroom with noise. Most students even began showing off their quirks. Yeah, started the teacher once again. You've all got some impressive quirks, but remember, you can't use them in class. His attempt at discipline was half-hearted, at best. Yo, teach. A voice that Izuku knew all too well called out. Don't lump me in with these losers. I'm the real deal, while these guys will end up sidekicks to some second-rate hero. You think you're better than us, Katsuki? A random voice called out. The rest of the class roared in agreement, not at all agreeing with Katsuki Bakugo's declaration. Let's go, I'll take you all on, he declared arrogantly. Well, your test results are impressive, the teacher agreed. Maybe you will get into UE High. Whoa, he's trying for the national school. Several students muttered their surprise. Izuku, however, simply lowered his head, dreading the possible direction a conversation about UE High could go. That place is impossible to get into, declared one random student. And that's exactly why I'm applying there. It's the only school worthy of me. Katsuki's arrogance was limitless, apparently. I've aced all of the mock exams, so I'm the only one in this school with a shot to get in. I'll become more famous than All Might himself. Oh yeah, Midoriya, you're trying for UE as well. Fuck. Slowly, everyone in class looked towards Izuku, then started laughing. Is this a joke? That can't be right. They won't let you in cause you ain't got a quirk. Actually, they got rid of that rule. Izuku struggled to make his voice heard. I could be the first one. He would have said more, but he was cut off by Katsuki blowing him backwards with an explosion. Listen up, Deku, Katsuki snarled. You're even worse than these rejects, you useless wannabe. You really think UE would take you when they could have me? Wano. I would never dream of competing against Yukikin. I swear. Izuku looked at the ground. It's just, I've wanted to be a hero since I was little. I don't have a quirk, but I can still try. You'll never be able to hang with the best of the best. You'd die in the exams. Izuku didn't say anything as the rest of the class laughed. Finally, class let out for the day. Izuku prepared to take notes while reading up of the events from earlier that morning. Before he could start, however, Katsuki snatched his notebook out of his hands. Don't tell me you're still bothering with this. What's that? His diary, one of Katsuki's flunkies asked. Katsuki turned the notebook so they could read it. Seriously, you're studying about how to be a hero? Why yeah, funny guys. Izuku tried to appease them. Just give it back, he begged. Katsuki slammed the notebook into his palm, burning it with his explosive powers. That's so mean, Izuku mumbled. Listen up, Deku, Katsuki started. Real pros get noticed early on, so when I'm the only student to get into UE from this entire lousy school, people will know that I'm the real deal. It'd be better for you not to even apply, got it? Katsuki and his flunkies made their way out of the classroom. That's just sad, one of them said. I thought you had some fight in you. Maybe he finally gets it, the second one supposed. Better to find out now than ending up on the job later, I guess. If you really want to be a hero so bad, said Katsuki, then just pray for a strong quirk in your next life, and then jump off the roof. Izuku turned angrily to face Katsuki, only to be met with a fierce look. Something wrong? Katsuki asked this while setting off a few explosions. Izuku could only look on, defeated. He did his best not to cry as he gathered his things and left the classroom. He slowly made his way across the school grounds. Stupid Kukin, he mumbled. You can't go around telling people to kill themselves. What if I actually did it? Would he even blink? He noticed the koi fish surrounding something in the pond. He saw it was his notebook. Guess my dreams amount to nothing but fish food. He grabbed the soaking notebook from the pond. Stupid jerk, he tried not to cry. Shaking off his depression, he started on his way home. On this journey, he vowed that, no matter what anyone said, he would be a hero. Just like All Might. He would be strong, and he would smile through it all. He made his way under a familiar overpass, laughing mightily, resolving himself. Mid-laugh, however, he was caught from behind by something. It was fluid, like jelly, and it wrapped him tight so he couldn't move. You'll make a perfect skin suit for me to hide in. Its voice was garbled, like it was speaking with a mouthful of water. Oh, no. A villain? Panic filled the young boy's head. Don't worry, I'm just taking over your body. It'll only hurt for a minute. If you struggle, it'll only be worse for you. Izuku grabbed at the fluid-like creature, trying to create a passage for air, but it was no use. He could feel the slime start sliding down his throat, but he couldn't gag. You'll never get a grip on me, kid, I'm all fluid. Thanks for your help, by the way, he taunted. You're a real hero to me, kid. The villain stressed the word with disdain. I had no idea he was in the city, the villain lamented. But I need an escape fast before he tracks me down again. Izuku continued his struggle, but with a lack of oxygen it was getting harder and harder to fight back. My body's getting weak, he thought to himself. I am dying, he realized. Is this really how it ends? His vision was starting to fade, and he was becoming more and more lightheaded. He thought he heard a loud bang from somewhere far away, but Izuku couldn't exactly focus. Suddenly his body was spun around and he was a figure in the light. He heard talking, but it sounded really far away. Suddenly, Izuku was free from the villain in great rush of air. Is that All Might? Was the last thought in his head right before he passed out. Hey kid, wake up. Izuku came to do rapid slaps to his face. Looking up, he saw the one and only All Might. Thought I lost you there. Izuku screamed in surprise and quickly scrambled away from his hero. Looks like you're moving around all right, All Might observed. Sorry you got caught up in my justicing, he apologized. I normally try and keep bystanders away from my battles, but this city's sewer system is pretty difficult to navigate, he let out a great laugh. Izuku could only stare at his hero in awe. Anyway, thank you, All Might declared. You were a big help. He lifted up a 2-liter bottle, filled with the slime villain that had ambushed Izuku. The most amazing hero is standing right in front of me, Izuku thought frantically. He's the real deal, All Might, in the flesh, he looks so much cooler in person. Holy crap. Izuku finally found his voice. I gotta get an autograph, he thought. Finding his notebook on the floor, he opened it up. Please, sign my notebook. Opening it up to what he thought was a blank page, he saw All Might written across the page. He already did. He bowed repeatedly to his hero. Thank you very much, I'll cherish this for all time, it'll be a family heirloom dash. Well, All Might cut Izuku off with a grin and a thumbs up. I have to get this villain to proper authorities so they can take care of him, he explained. Stay out of trouble, young man. See you around. He proceeded to begin stretching. Wait, Izuku realized. You're leaving? Already? Pro heroes are fighting time as well as enemies, All Might declared. He continued stretching his legs. He can't go yet. There's so much I want to ask him. Stand back, he cautioned. I'm taking off. And with a mighty leap, All Might was soaring through the sky. Along with Izuku, who was hanging onto his thigh for dear life, and screaming his head off. Looking down, All Might stared at the young boy who clinged onto him for dear life. Quickly, he tried to pry him off. Hey. I love my fans, but this is too much. Let go. Not now, we're flying. Izuku cried desperately. If I let go no, I'll die. Oh, All Might realized. That's a good point. I just have a lot of things I want to ask you. Izuku struggled to make himself heard despite the wind distorting his face. You're my all-time favorite hero, please. Okay, I get it, All Might acquiesced. Just shut your eyes and mouth. Izuku immediately buried his face into All Might's thigh. All Might gripped Izuku's backpack, securing him, and with his other hand wiped the corner of his mouth, removing the blood that he started to spit up. Shit. Neither Izuku nor All Might realized the bottle containing the slime villain had fallen out of All Might's pocket. Finally beginning their descent, All Might angled his fall to land on an apartment building. He gently placed a trembling Izuku on the ground. I think my whole life just flashed before my eyes, Izuku groaned. Not a particularly smart move, All Might chastised him. Just bang on the door for a while, someone let you in. All Might made his way towards the edge of the roof. I'll catch you on the flip side. Wait, Izuku cried. Not yet. No. This time, All Might sounded angry. I don't have any time, he said with urgency. I have to know, Izuku cried out with even more urgency. He remembered everything he'd heard from others, how useless he was. How he'd never get a quirk. The feelings of uselessness came to the surface. But so did his resolve. Is it possible to become a hero even if I don't have a quirk? That got All Might to stop in his tracks. I'm just a normal kid without powers, Izuku continued. Could I ever hope to be someone like you? Slowly, All Might turned and looked at Izuku. Without a quirk. Before he could say anything else, All Might froze, and groaned in pain. Izuku didn't seem to notice, and kept talking. No, damn it, All Might groaned. Not here, not now. He felt his body shrink down, and himself becoming weaker until all that was left of him was his emaciated form. And then Izuku screamed. N. Slowly, the slime villain regained consciousness. Looking around, he saw he was in an alley somewhere. He didn't have the time to take in too much of his surroundings because some blonde, spiky-haired punk kicked him into the wall. Luckily, this resulted in the bottle popping open and releasing him. Eyeing the spiky-haired punk as he argued with his friends, he saw him use some kind of explosion quirk. I like a meat suit with a little fire, he declared, making his presence known to the trio. N. What's going on? Where'd All Might go? You're not him. You're an imposter. Izuku didn't know what was going on. The gaunt man sighed. I assure you that I am Aarg. Suddenly, All Might started coughing up copious amounts of blood. Izuku screamed in horror. There's no way you're All Might, Izuku declared. You know how guys at the pool are sucking in and flexing? I'm like that, All Might explained. This can't be real. All Might's a giant of a man who saves people with a fearless smile. There's plenty of fear behind that smile, All Might said somberly. Slowly, he lowered himself to the ground and took a seat. Look, promise me you'll keep your mouth shut, All Might said. Don't go telling your friends, or posting online about this. He lifted his shirt, revealing a large, angry scar in his side. It hurt Izuku just to look at it. Pretty gross, right? I got this in a big fight a few years back, All Might explained. My respiratory system was basically destroyed, and I lost my whole stomach. All the surgeries have pretty much worn me out. It can't be fixed. My ability to use my powers has been limited to 3 hours a day. The rest of the time, this is what I look like. No way. Izuku could only imagine how painful this was for All Might. 5 years ago, was it the fight against Toxic Chainsaw? Wow, you really know your stuff, he acknowledged. But no. That punk got a few good licks in, but he could never hurt me this bad. Most people never heard of this fight. I did everything I could to keep it under wraps. All Might looked to Izuku. I'm the symbol of peace, right? People have to think that I'm never afraid. The truth is that, my big smile is just a front I put on to hide the fear inside when the going gets tough. This job isn't easy. Heroes are constantly laying down their lives. Some villains can't be beaten without powers. So, no. I don't believe you can become a hero without a quirk. That was all it took for Izuku's entire world to crash all around him. His hero, the great All Might, believed it was impossible to. I see. If you really want to help people, there are plenty of ways for you to do it. Be doctor, or a police officer. They get a lot of crap because the heroes catch most of the villains, but it's a fine profession. All Might made his way off the roof. He stopped before leaving the roof through the service entrance. If you don't have a quirk, what made you so dead set on becoming a hero anyway? That would have been enough to take most people off the idea. When I was a kid, Izuku started. My father was murdered by a villain. Izuku revealed. I see. For a moment, nothing was said between them. It's good to have dream, kid, he said. But you have to make sure that dream is attainable. Realistic. With that, All Might left. Izuku stayed on the rooftop for what felt like hours. His hero, the great All Might, didn't believe in him. If All Might didn't believe in him, then what was the point? He was suddenly jarred out of his thoughts by a loud explosion. Looking in the distance, he could see a large cloud of black smoke rising into the sky. A villain attack. A familiar excitement filled him as he made his way towards the service entrance. I wonder which hero Izuku suddenly stopped, remembering what All Might just told him. He stopped in his tracks, and sighed. Slowly, he resumed his trek towards the entrance and slowly exited the building. The situation at Tatooine Shopping District was getting worse. The slime villain had taken a hostage and caused enough destruction to keep himself out of harm's way. The heroes couldn't attack the creature, lest he hurt the hostage. You picked the wrong guy to mess with. Katsuki cried and struggled within the monster's grasp. I'm gonna send you back to whatever sewer you crawled out of. Let me go. Katsuki used his quirk to its maximum potential, creating massive explosions. Unfortunately for him, the creature's fluid body absorbed the explosions without problems. You've got so much power, the creature admired. I've really hit the jackpot. With a quirk like yours under my control, I can take out All Might with one punch. The situation was becoming more and more dire. The explosions caused by Katsuki were creating fires that rerouted attention from the rescue heroes, and the combat heroes couldn't do anything without risking the hostage. The onlookers could only look on in horror. All Might quickly made his way to the alley and saw the dire situation. Damn it, I must have dropped the bottle, he muttered under his breath. After lecturing that kid, I can't believe I made such a rookie mistake. He gripped his side, which was killing him with how overworked he was. He was useless now. On the other side of the street, a dazed Izuku walked aimlessly. He was looking through his notebook, reviewing all of his notes. Don't cry, Izuku, you knew it wasn't meant to be, he thought. You were always just in denial. If All Might says you can't be a hero without a quirk, then it must be true. Suddenly he bumped into someone, knocking him down. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It was an older woman, probably around the same age as his mother. She was pretty, with wavy blonde hair, blue eyes, and an athletic figure. She seemed to be in a hurry to get out of there. I'm just trying to get out of here before things get worse. After helping him up, she speed-walked away, not looking back. Izuku looked towards the alley, seeing the crowd of people. Is the fight from earlier still going on? Making his way towards the crowd, Izuku saw the same monster that attacked him. What? All Might captured him. Unless... Izuku remembered when he grabbed onto All Might as he jumped through the air. It's my fault, he realized. Why aren't the heroes doing anything? Wondered one onlooker. It's a messed up situation, plus the villain captured a kid, explained a second onlooker. Wait a minute, isn't this the guy All Might was chasing earlier? Yeah. There's no way he lost. So, where is he? Someone call All Might. All Might shifted uncomfortably, not knowing what to do. Izuku was frozen in shock as well, realizing his role in the current situation. I'm so pathetic, All Might lamented. It's my fault. All Might wasted his energy on me. He can't power up yet, Izuku realized. I'm such a disgrace. I'm sorry. You're no hero. A real hero will come soon, I'm sure of it. Looking up, Izuku looked at the beast. He had a clear line of sight to the spectacle, and he saw Katsuki. For the first time ever, he saw Katsuki with the most desperate look in his eyes. Katsuki was afraid. Before he realized it, his body was moving towards the beast. What? All Might couldn't contain his shock at seeing the boy he had lectured earlier jump into action. This kid. Stop, you idiot, cried out one of the heroes. You're going to get yourself killed. What the hell am I doing? Why am I running? Deku? Katsuki wasn't entirely sure if he was hallucinating, but it looked like Deku was running towards him. You're toast, kid. The villain swung large tendrils of his fluid-like body towards Izuku. What do I do? What do I do? What would a hero do right now? He immediately remembered a random page from one of his many hero notebooks. Page 25. Create an opening. Before the massive tentacles could make contact, Izuku swung his backpack towards the villain's face, hitting its eyes. It recoiled in shock, creating enough of an opening for Izuku to reach Katsuki. What the hell are you here? I don't know, Izuku answered honestly as he quickly dug at the sludge, trying to free Katsuki. My legs just moved on their own. Izuku continued to try and free Katsuki, with desperate tears streaming down his face. I couldn't just stand there and watch you die. Hearing that, All Might knew he had to do something. Gathering up the last of his strength, he prepared to do something. Just a little bit. A minute is all I need. I'm done playing with you. the villain took one final swing at Izuku. Save the boy. That attack will kill him. It was too late, however. The massive attack made contact and kicked up a massive dust cloud. Everyone looked on in horror, realizing that had probably just seen the murder of a child. I am pathetic. Izuku looked up, and saw a fully powered All Might defending him from the slime villain's attack. I told you what it takes to be a hero, and I wasn't living up to my own expectations. With a grunt of effort, he shrugged off the creature's slimy tentacles. Being willing to lay down your life for others, that's the true test of a hero. Damn you, All Might. Detroit Smash. With a mighty punch, All Might completely blew away the slime villain, leaving behind a safe Izuku and Katsuki. Suddenly, it began to rain. Everyone looked up, watching the swirling clouds. Holy crap, he changed the weather, one hero said in awe. Suddenly the crowd began cheering, singing All Might's praises. All he wanted to do was pass out, but he couldn't. He was the symbol of peace. Instead, he lifted his fist in a show of victory, which the crowd loved. The aftermath was par the course. The authorities collected the remains of the slime villain for processing, and All Might was swamped by interviewers. The heroes took turns ripping into Izuku for his stupidity, while Katsuki was praised for his bravery, and his formidable quirk. Finally, Izuku managed to slip away and walk home in the rain. Maybe I'll just send All Might a message on his website. Deku. Turning, Izuku saw Katsuki racing up to him. Kukin. He wondered what Katsuki would want with him now. Don't ever presume to think I need your help, Katsuki raged. You're just a quirkless loser, got it? I was fine on my own. You did nothing. I don't owe you a damn thing. He turned and left immediately, not caring to hear Izuku's response. What was that? Izuku wondered. Kukin is right about one thing, I didn't make a difference at all. Izuku sighed. I guess I better get back to abandoning my dream. I am here. All Might appeared from around the corner, scaring Izuku. Hey All Might! He screamed in surprise. Why are you here? How'd you get rid of all those reporters? He wondered. All Might just laughed. I stand for justice. Not sound bites. All Might flexed his large muscles. Because I am All Emarg. He immediately shrunk down and coughed up blood. Ah. Young man, I came here to thank you. Izuku looked up in shock. If we hadn't had that discussion on the rooftop, if you hadn't run into that fight, I would have been just another worthless bystander. And no. Izuku disagreed. It was my fault all that happened to begin with. I got in the way of your hard work, he said sadly. I'm not done, All Might said. You told me you don't have a quirk, so when I saw this ordinary, powerless boy risk his life to save someone else's, it forced me to act too. Izuku looked to All Might, shocked. Every hero has a story about how they became great, but they all have one thing in common. They all acted for the benefit of others, even if it meant putting themselves in danger. A heroic instinct. Izuku couldn't believe it. Was All Might saying what he thought he was saying? He struggled to hold back his tears. Today, you demonstrated that heroic instinct. At this point, Izuku couldn't hold back his tears. The rain stopped, and there was a break in the clouds, bathing the scene with a beautiful orange glow. Young man, you too can become a hero. With that, Izuku fell to his knees, unable to hold back his tears. All Might watched the boy cry, releasing his pent-up frustrations. He could only imagine the joy his words were giving the boy. And then the lightning struck. Miles away, a dark-haired, slender woman watched the lightning strike with a psychotic grin. Slowly, everything was coming together. She could feel the speed force flowing back into her body, little by little, but it was starting. Looking down at her hand, she vibrated it, feeling the speed force respond to her once again. She couldn't maintain it for long, though. She only just started to restore the timeline, creating the sequence of events that would culminate in her own creation. It all started with Izuku Midoriya. Velocity. It's such a mad world we live in, she said to herself. Then I must create my greatest enemy so that I may exist. She watched the distance, distantly seeing something moving towards the hospital quickly. Well, I suppose it's time for me to get back into character. She stepped over to a wheelchair and plopped herself down on it. Using the remote control on the armrest, She directed the wheelchair towards the service entrance and entered the hospital. A nurse quickly noticed her. Dr. Tej. She immediately ran up to the wheelchair-bound doctor. A new ER patient was just brought in by All Might himself. It seems the boy was struck by lightning. Taking the file from the nurse, she pretended to look over it. Soon enough, there were in the ER and approaching All Might. Well, long time no see, All Might, Dr. Tej called out. Immediately, All Might turned to look at the newcomer, recognizing her instantly. Trajectory. I don't go by that name anymore, she said with a dry chuckle, and waved towards the wheelchair. All Might had the decency to look sheepish. Haven't seen you do a hospital delivery in a long time, she observed. This one is special, said All Might. He looked towards Izuka, who seemed to be in terrible shape. The doctors were all fussing over him, trying to stabilize him. He suddenly felt a hand on his arm. Don't worry, Dr. Tej assured. There's no safer hands than mine. N.